Hello and welcome to Programming the Lazy Way, a sequence of short videos for beginning programmers. To understand today's video, you'll need to be able to do calculations and for loops. Today I want to look at the most important thing that you can do to reduce the work of building a program. That is the number one lazy tip I can think of. It's about planning what you're writing before you plunk it all down in the IDE and hope that it works. Now here's the steps that you might go through in writing a program. You just start writing. You compile it and you fix some errors, spend however long it takes getting all the errors out. Then you finally get it to run and find it doesn't do what you wanted it to do. So you go back to the previous steps and do them again and again until you cry. Or maybe that's just me. But here's a better way. State the problem clearly. Know what it is that you want to get done. State how you will do it clearly in English. That's the algorithm. Write the code, test it, and repeat the previous steps until it compiles and does what you want. Now, I wanted to consider an example. A program to ask the user for a number and a power to raise it to, and then print the number raised to that power. The problem is already stated clearly enough, so I will just put it right there in the editor so that Visual Studio won't try to indent it for me. I'll highlight it and push this button here that turns it into comments. I can also undo that if I want. I will be using Unix in some future videos, but I did want to show you that neat little Visual Studio trick. Now, as I look at this, I would say I'm missing a step. I can't print the result before I get it, so I'll add the extra step here. Ordinarily, I just have one version of main, but I put up several so that you wouldn't have to wait for me to type. Now, I already know how to ask the user for things and get answers, so I can do these first two steps. The last one's easy too, but the calculate step is not so obvious, so I'll try to think about how this is done. If you wanted to get a number to some power, how would you do it? This is often the best way to plan your program. Think about what you would do. Well, you say something like multiply number by itself power times. It's still not blindingly obvious. It's repeating an activity though, so it looks like it ought to have a loop in it. What kind of loop? Since we're doing it power times, that sounds like a for loop. What will it be doing power times? Multiplying the number to get some result. So I write this in here. Result is going to need an initial value. I often use 0 for initial values, but I can't do that here because when you multiply, it'll still be 0. So, well, 1 will work. I stop making refinements when every step here is close enough to C++ that it's obvious how to convert. And then I'm ready to write the code. So let me get rid of these earlier versions and go on to this where I start to fill in the code. And then I fill in some more code. And fill in some more, converting those comments right there into real C++. And then write the last little bit. Experts agree, taking the time out to write your plans in advance in human language saves time overall. Some say by a factor of 10, maybe more, although we can't be precise. It's just too much for me to plan it out and translate it all into C++ in my mind before my fingers hit the keyboard. So give yourself a break and write that algorithm. Let me know in comments what you think, and until that time, stay lazy.